The old cottage. That's your home now.
It's just me and you, Baxter. It's just me and you.
Something's haunting you, Mr. Black. I can see it.
Hey everyone, I'm Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central, and I'm here today with Tom Hughes, the star of the new film Shepherd. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Mary Beth. How are you?
I'm great. So, first of all, we'd just love to hear how you got involved in Shepherd, and you are pretty much the only person in this movie aside for a few other performances. So, how did you get involved in the film?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that got me involved. If I'm honest, I was quite excited about that challenge, although that might have been a bit naive on my side. But yeah, how did I get involved in the film? So they sent Russell sent script to my agent, and I was on holiday and bizarrely and read the script, which is very different to the world I was in, and I was just completely immersed in it and taken there and really went on the kind of the roller coaster of emotions that Eric goes through. And it really, the residue of it really stuck with me. And I couldn't quite shake thinking about him, actually. And so when I got back from holiday, I reached out to my agent and said, look, I really want to do this. Went and met Russell, which was great. And I just felt like there was such a sensitivity to the way that Eric's psychological state had been mapped out in the film. It felt very real to me, and it felt brave actually as well. It felt quite honest, and that was what really drew me in. I'd never been in a horror before. The idea of having that social realism at the heart of a horror was really exciting for me because it was something I could hang my hat on while learning about the genre from the inside out. And then the kicker, I guess, after all of that, the whiskey chaser was that it was kind of just me and only me. There were days, obviously, when Kate Dickie, who was incredible, came in, and Greta and Gaia, but for 90% of it, it was just me and my dog on an island. And I felt like equally as an actor, that was going to be a challenge, bit of a sink or swim moment, but I wanted the challenge. So all of those things are why I jumped at the chance, yeah.
So I'm so sorry, my cat has an attitude problem back here.
Cool.
But so what was it like for you to prepare then for this to be by yourself? And like what was it like, not by yourself, but like kind of be the solo actor in front of the camera and kind of embody Eric's point of view and his emotional experience?
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of time to prep from getting back from holiday to being on set. I think it was about 3 weeks, if I'm honest.
Oh wow.
It's the kind of, I mentioned in an earlier conversation with someone, I think it's the kind of where Eric's at in his life, you where any character you play, to be honest, are at in their lives. But what drew me to this is, like I said, there was such a sensitivity in terms of how I felt Russell had mapped out where Eric was at, and how that manifested on the island, and how the island became symbolic of his internal kind of struggle. You could do 4 years of research and it wouldn't be enough to ensure that you got that right. I think it's a duty as an actor to try and portray that in a way that feels viscerally recognizable. So having 3 weeks, I kind of spoke to anyone in my life that I felt could help shine a light on how that would feel and what that might put you through as an animal and as a being. And then it was about trying to stay in his rhythm, in his vibration, in his energy, and trying to keep that. He's very different to me, and I'm a very social creature. So being on my own was going to have an impact on me for sure. And so I tried to double down on that. I took myself to a different hotel than everyone else and was on the other side of the island. Initially, I wasn't, and I realized it wasn't helping. I don't know, you might go for a drink after the end of the day and the crew are there. And however great it was to see the crew, I kind of, no, I need to stay in this, I think. So I went on into a hotel on the other side of the island on my own. And that really helped, and just tried to stay in that mode as much as I could.
Oh wow. That's incredible. And lonely. It feels very lonely.
Yeah, really lonely. Yeah. And but I said earlier, and I think I definitely, doing this film, I definitely learned a lot about myself as an actor, I think, and a lot about myself as a human as well, I think. But anyway, yeah.
So you said that this is your first horror movie. Were you familiar with horror in general? Did you watch a lot of horror, or was kind of your first time immersing yourself in the genre in all aspects?
I mean, to say it's the first time immersing myself in the genre in all aspects, what isn't a lie, I would say. I think it probably is. Obviously, growing up, you do see certain horror things. You do see certain movies. You do catch them from time to time, but it's
Yeah.
not a genre that I would be your go-to for advice on. And it's certainly not a genre that I knew about. And also, I think I probably didn't appreciate the skill involved in it either. In terms of, it's like jazz. If you don't listen to a lot of jazz and then you listen to all jazz, can kind of, you don't really know what's happening in the jazz. It can just sound like jazz. And then as soon as you realize what those what the nuggets are and how they open up the world, suddenly the world is a completely different world, and you understand jazz in a whole way that you didn't before. I think it's like that with horror. I've not been a fan of horror, but I think learning the structure behind it and what goes into it and how that manifests and what that represents, actually, that was a real thrill. And to learn that from the inside out was particularly thrilling, if I'm honest. So that was great. I'm very happy that I dived into that genre.
That's awesome. Would you do another horror movie? I think you were great
Yeah.
in this. I think you should do another horror movie.
Thank you. Do you know what? For sure, actually. Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, if I'm really honest, I didn't grow up watching a ton of movies either, so it's not like I just sidelined horror. I kind of grew up like listening to music and doing different things and playing music and all that. So learning about film has been an amazing thing to do in my adult life, really, if I'm really honest. I'm always going to need a degree of social realism in anything I do. It's what I get drawn to. But if there was a horror that had something, however different in it, that had that as well, like I hope Shepherd does, and then yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredible medium, actually. Yeah, I think it can really transport an audience, and like laughter can really open an audience up. I think so can horror, actually, and you can take an audience down a path they maybe wouldn't necessarily agree to go down otherwise.
Yeah. So my last question for you is: you obviously had some great co-stars, but the best one was the dog, the sweet pup. What was it like to work with that sweet dog? You guys had such a cute bond, especially at the beginning when you're cuddling in bed. So I just wanted to hear what it was like working with the dog, your co-star.
Bittersweet is the truth. Shuggy is the dog's name, not Baxter in real life. And on like day 2, there's shots of me driving in the van. And that was me driving in the van, obviously, because we're a low budget movie. And so me and Shuggy were in the van for about 3.5 hours, just me and her. Shuggy is female, not male as Baxter is. And so we just had the best bond, and I just fell head over heels in love with that dog. So actually, although it was wonderful to work with Shuggy, and Shuggy is a steam sealer, leaving her behind was a heart wrencher, I have to say.
You have to get text updates about her all the time now.
yeah.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about Shepherd. Shepherd is out now, everybody, so please check it out.